Okay, today we're going to troubleshoot this dryer. This is a Whirlpool Electric Dryer, and the trouble with it was the owner put a load of laundry in and hit the start switch and it would not start. So basically what I do is I usually start with the things that are the easiest to troubleshoot and then work from there. What I basically do is I check for continuity on these thermostats. Now, all these thermostats here are built to open if there's a heat buildup, so it won't cause a dryer fire. And basically, these thermostats are in what we call just a normally closed mode, where basically there's continuity between this tab and this tab. If this thermostat fails, gets overheated, it will open up and break continuity, and then you'll have a no start situation. So what I did is I checked for this one here first, and I put a meter probe on this pole and on this pole here, and I show continuity, so we know that is good. And I'll explain continuity in just a second. I go down here to this lower thermostat here. I do the same thing. I take one of those two red wires off, I put a probe on one lead and a probe on the other lead, check for continuity. I had continuity, so that is okay. There's a secondary thermostat down there as well that you can do the same. You go from one tab to the other and check continuity. If these are closed, then these three pieces here are good. Now, we have another thermostat here that has 4 leads on it, and they go 2 large gauge on the top, one on the bottom. You check for continuity there. If those are good, that part of the thermostat's good. We have another check here where we'll pull this lead off here, and we'll put a meter across these 2 smaller tabs here and check for continuity. If those are showing continuity, then that is also good as well. Now remember, if you put your meter across any one of these tabs and you don't get continuity or no meter reading, then you know that those parts are defective. And what I'll do is I'll even take them out of the dryer and just check them on the bench just to make sure. No sense in throwing good money after a part that is not blown. Now, we also have what we call down here, and I'll put this back in here to show you folks, but we have this neat little fuse here called a Non Repairable Fuse. This is another fail-safe, this little white unit here. Actually, I have that in backwards. See it like this? Sorry about that. Okay, here we go. What it is there's a set of leads on there. These 2 blue leads that'll go here. One here, one here. Okay. Let me put those in and show you. It's hard to do this with one hand. Sorry about this, guys. Okay. We got these 2 blue leads here. Now, this is a fuse, and we all know when a fuse blows, it's no good. We'll have no continuity, okay? So, what I did is I put my meter, I took this lead off, I put my meter across this lead here, on this lead here, and then one on this lead, and I showed no continuity, which means this is an open fuse here. And we'll get to this continuity thing here. So, like I say, forgive me because I'm trying to do this with one hand. This is my old handy-dandy analog meter I've had for 20 years. I went to grab my fancy digital voltmeter, and of course the battery was dead. But the old analog meter here is always a good backup for me because it always works. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what this is. This is just a standard fuse, okay? Which is basically what this is. Okay, this is the unit we pulled out of the dryer. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to take and put one of our leads on here and one of our leads on the other side. And I'm going to hold this with the camera and do this. And what happens when we touch the fuse, we'll find that it's good. It has continuity. That's a good thing. Okay, continuity. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the leads on our old fuse here that came off the dryer, and I'm going to check for continuity. And I have no continuity. Okay, no continuity. So that tells me that that is bad. I now have the new replacement fuse, which is basically the exact same part as the old one. The old one here, of course, is on top. You can tell it's got a little coloring and stuff on it. And on the bottom, I mean, and it's got some coloring on it. Here, you know, it's just been used. This is the new one. Now, these are somewhat a standard part. They use these on gas washers, or excuse me, on gas dryers and electric dryers. And really, when you go to the parts store, what you want to do is give them the model number, the make and the model number of your dryer, and the guy at the parts counter will hand you you know, a little bag here. And what I want you to do is have your old part in hand when you go to the retailer. The only thing you want to do is look through the bag and make sure that these little tabs here are the same size as the tabs that you have. The other version of this non-repairable fuse is the other version just has smaller tabs. So you just want to make sure those are the same so you have an easy plug-in. Okay? So what we'll do is we'll take this new part and we'll reinstall that like so. We'll put the nut, or we'll put the sheet metal screw back in. We'll plug it back in. We'll plug the unit back into the wall. Have your breaker off when you do that. And then of course we'll put the sheet metal screw back in there and then tighten it back up. Now I've previously done this before this video, and this does work. This dryer now works. Another thing I wanted to show you guys was while you're in here, clean the lint out of this exhaust piece here. This comes from the drum. This is where the air actually comes out of the drum. It's sucked out of here by this fan, and then it's pushed out of this vent, okay? And it of course goes, you know, through your dryer hose and outside. That little non-repairable fuse, if that goes out, that's sometimes telling you you've had an overheat situation. Say, for instance, you have lint built up in this hose, and it's clogging up. Instead of starting a dryer fire, this little guy down here will sense that you have a problem, i.e. too much heat, and it'll pop. It's a little bit more sensitive than these thermostats, which is kind of neat because it's just, you know, safeguard against any kind of a dryer fire. These fuses last pretty much the lifetime of the unit. This unit here is under heavy use day in and day out, and of course, you know, after time parts will fail. This unit's about 10 years old. While I'm in here, I like to not only clean this, but I like to take this ducting out, and it's really easy to do. It's just 2 screws in the top and 4 screws down here on the bottom. And I've already cleaned this out, but you want to make sure these are nice and clean. Now, I've pulled these out before and had most of this plugged up. I've seen them where there's only about an inch or so here where it can breathe, and all this pocket down here is full. And the problem with that is it'll inhibit airflow, and that will increase your drying times. Your dryer will just be working, you know, considerably harder to get the job done. Sometimes you'll have to go through 2 or 3 cycles to, say, get towels or jeans dry. So what I do is I clean this and that hose out about once every year to year and a half. And I try to keep the efficiency of the dryer up doing that. And then she doesn't have to keep resetting the timer and doing the loads over, and it saves electricity. Yada yada yada. It's also a nice thing to do to get the vacuum in here and clean up as much as you can up here in the top area, get all that stuff cleaned up and whatnot, and just kind of make sure everything's looking good. Just get your leads back on these things real nice and tight. Make sure everything is pushed back in, all those leads are pushed in, make sure everything's safe. Put the vent piece back in, put your rear cover on, and you're done. You've saved you quite a bit of money in a repair bill. Now, this little fuse was $20.40 with tax at the local shop. It's part number, what is that, 3392519. Pretty common. You can mail order these. There's probably going to be an ad or something that pops up and it's going to show you where to purchase them from, or give you the link to purchase this from a online company, and that's probably the best thing to do. You can also call your local guy and see if he has one for your unit. I try to support local business, but hey, if it's astronomically high, you know, mail order the thing if you can go without it for that long. But like I say, you want to make sure that these thermostats have continuity, okay, and the non-repairable fuse, which has happened to me in a couple of units now here on the property here. We have a few washers and dryers here, and they all have quite a bit of heavy use, and the gas dryer is the exact same way. I did another video with the gas dryer, and it was actually the non-replaceable fuse as well. Now in a gas dryer, when you hit the start button, the drum will turn, everything will turn, but it just won't fire up. You just won't get any heat. And a lot of times it'll be this little fuse here. What you want to do to try to keep from blowing these things is clean out this vent every year or so, every year and a half. Make sure when you put this hose back, you don't have any kinks when you push it back up against the wall, because that will build up excess heat in this area here and take out your fuse. And then of course then you just got to do this whole thing over again. So I hope this video helps out. You can save yourself a ton of money by just doing this. The repair guys absolutely love repair jobs like this because it's just a quick one, and what is it going to be, about 150 bucks in service? Bada boom, bada bing. When you can do it yourself for 20 bucks. So, you know, that's the way to go. Okay, I hope this video helps out.